Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the third African Clean Cities Platform Assembly. For those of you that have your microphone open, please close so we don't disturb all the people that are speaking. My name is Cecilia Anderson, and I work with UN Habitat, the Urban Basic Services section, and it is my pleasure to actually be with you all here today. I'll give a quick introduction to the African Clean Cities Platform, which was established back in 2017 in Maputo. And this is now the third assembly since its establishment. And the initiative started as a side event during the 6th Tokyo International Conference on African Development, as many call it, TICAD, in Nairobi back in 2016. And since then, it's actually grown to a network of about 108 cities from 42 countries across Africa. And the objective is to sort of share knowledge and exchange experiences towards sustainable waste management. As agreed at the last assembly, UN Habitat has hosted the ACCP Secretariat since 2020. And as many of you will remember, the world has gone through quite a crisis since 2020, which has also jeopardized municipal solid waste management systems and global recycling market. However, in spite of all those challenges imposed by the COVID-19, various activities were carried out under the ACCP, and we discovered a new way of actually connecting with members using technologies in different ways. So this third ACCP assembly is a part of the process leading up to TICAD 8, which is scheduled to take place in a month's time in Tunis. The assembly will capture the outcomes of the activities according to the Yokohama Action Guidance adopted in 2019 in the second ACCP Assembly, agreeing on the ACCP activities in the coming 3 years. On day 5, which is on Friday, the 29th July, we will also adopt the outcome document, the Tunis Action Guidance, which determines the activities to be carried out in the coming 3 years under the ACCP platform. Firstly, I'd like to extend a great thank you to the Ministry of Environment of Japan for the continuous support for us to work on this very important topic in the urbanization in Africa. We also would like to thank partners such as Jaica, Yokohama City, and our sister agency UNEP for the continued partnership in making sure that this is such a success. I just wanted to start with a few housekeeping rules. So I know many of you might be a bit confused because you'll see a lot of Veronicas. So please take an opportunity now to rename yourself on Zoom. I think if you click on the little buttons on the side of your name, you'll get the opportunity to rename, and then you can actually add your first name and last name and your organization that you belong to. Also, please make sure that your microphone is muted unless you're talking. Now, the ACCP is hosted in both English, and there is a French simultaneous interpretation available. So if you want to access the French interpretation, you would need to actually go to the French channel at the bottom of your screen. Use the chat function to introduce yourself and to ask questions. You can also give approval, applaud. I think you've got this little icons on the side that you can use. And if you wish to participate in the Q&A section, then please raise your hand. I think there's a raise a hand function, and that makes it easier for us to also see that you'd like to speak. And please do feel really, the opportunity is open to contribute as much as you'd like. We would like to hear your questions and your comments, and also hear your voices as much as possible. So I would like to start with introducing the agenda. Today we'll have the opening segment, which will be a series of video messages from our high-level speakers as we first, and then directly afterwards we'll have a keynote lecture by Professor Yukari Takamura on the global trend around waste management. We'll have a small coffee break, and then we'll do the presentation from the ACCP Secretariat on the progress of the achievements over the past period since the last assembly over the past 3 years. Towards the end, we would like to go to the most updated outcome document of the Tunis Action Guidance. So to give a little bit of an introduction to that. And this has been updated based on the feedback received from the ACCP members in the beginning of July. So please also check on the ACCP Assembly website if you'd like to have access to the document, and you will find the programs and all the presentations will be uploaded shortly into the website after the Assembly. So maybe with that, we can actually start. I'd like to give the floor to a video message from Her Excellency Najla Bouden, who is the Tunisian geologist and professor who is serving as the Prime Minister of Tunisia. She took office in 2011, making her the first Prime Minister, both in Tunisia and the Arab world, the first woman. So please, let's hear the video message from Her Excellency Najla Bouden. Sorry, we can't hear the sound actually.
Par rapport à la réunion là, mais vous autres là, c'est. Alors, vous autres, c'est vraiment aller prendre la question. Vous autres, mais je vous donne les problèmes. Écoutez la Lyon là. Oui.
I'm sorry, I think we're hearing somebody else chatting, so please actually put your microphones off unless you're actually presenting. And if we can try and get the voice of the Prime Minister of Tunisia, please.
Excellence Madame Maïmouna Ahmad Sharif, directrice exécutive du Programme des Nations Unies pour les établissements humains et sous-secrétaire général des Nations Unies, Excellence Monsieur Tsuyoshi Yamaguchi, ministre de l'Environnement du Japon, Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs. Je voudrais tout d'abord remercier le Programme des Nations Unies pour les établissements humains pour l'aimable invitation qui m'a été adressée en vue de participer à la séance d'ouverture de la 3e session de la plateforme africaine des villes propres qui se tient cette année dans le cadre des préparatifs de la 8e conférence internationale de Tokyo sur le développement en Afrique, la TICAD 8, que la Tunisie accueillera les 27 et 28 août prochains. Mes remerciements vont également à toutes les parties prenantes qui ont œuvré au succès de cette 3e session de notre plateforme en vue du partage des connaissances et des expériences, de la mobilisation des ressources et des investissements pour atteindre les objectifs de développement durable à l'horizon 2030 et de l'agenda de 2063 de l'Union africaine, notamment ceux liés à la gestion des déchets et à la réduction de leurs risques. Mesdames et messieurs, nous sommes réunis aujourd'hui alors que les crises mondiales se sont malheureusement multipliées, aggravant ainsi la conjoncture internationale en raison des effets néfastes croissants des changements climatiques, de la surexploitation des ressources naturelles, de la perte de la biodiversité et de la prolifération des pollutions de toutes sortes. Notre réunion d'aujourd'hui reflète notre pleine conviction qu'au nom de la responsabilité partagée, les États, les gouvernements, les organisations régionales et internationales, ainsi que les organisations non gouvernementales, se doivent de travailler ensemble pour lutter contre la dégradation de l'environnement et garantir, de ce fait, les droits de l'homme, dont les droits fondamentaux des générations présentes et futures à la vie et à la santé. nous sommes tous appelés à accorder une priorité absolue à l'écologie et à la question environnementale dans la conception de nos villes, d'une manière créative et innovante qui permettra de garantir un cadre de vie propre et des services publics efficients et non polluants. Forte de cette conviction, la Tunisie a adhéré aux directives et principes internationaux pour le développement durable en faisant de l'environnement une priorité majeure dans les politiques nationales et en hissant le droit à un environnement sain au rang d'un droit constitutionnel. Mesdames et messieurs, l'action du gouvernement tunisien pour la période à venir repose sur la réalisation de la vision Tunisie 2035 qui accorde la plus grande importance aux économies circulaires, bleues et vertes, en tant que prérequis pour tout développement durable. Ce développement sera basé sur un aménagement territorial qui respecte les équilibres écologiques, la maîtrise de l'énergie, la bonne gestion des ressources naturelles, la protection de l'environnement contre la pollution, le développement de systèmes de production et de consommation propres et durables, ainsi que la réduction des risques de catastrophes naturelles. Mesdames et messieurs, tout en constatant avec satisfaction l'intégration de 8 villes tunisiennes, à savoir Tunis, Sousse, Bni Khaled, l'île de Djerba, El Mourouj, El Nour et la Marsa dans la plateforme africaine des villes propres, j'invite à cette occasion toutes les villes membres à redynamiser leur rôle au sein de cette plateforme conformément aux particularités et aux besoins de chaque ville. J'exhorte également davantage les villes tunisiennes et africaines à rejoindre prochainement cette plateforme. J'espère ainsi que cette manifestation servira de cadre de coopération bilatérale, régionale et internationale afin de contribuer à renforcer les piliers des politiques respectueuses de l'environnement dans nos villes. Dans ce cadre, nous appelons à davantage coordonner nos efforts afin de, premièrement, adopter une approche globale et multidimensionnelle pour des villes propres à laquelle contribuent les gouvernements, les organisations régionales et internationales ainsi que le secteur privé et bien entendu la société civile en mettant un accent particulier sur la participation de nos jeunes et des femmes. Deuxièmement, concrétiser le concept de la solidarité internationale afin de consacrer le principe de responsabilité commune mais différenciée et le droit au développement. Troisièmement, échanger les connaissances et l'expertise, promouvoir le transfert des technologies, le renforcement des capacités, la coopération nord-sud, sud-sud, de manière à élaborer et à mettre en œuvre des politiques respectueuses de l'environnement dans tous les États sur un même pied d'égalité. Quatrièmement et dernièrement, mobiliser tous ensemble les ressources financières nécessaires, notamment à travers la conversion d'une partie de la dette des pays en développement en investissements environnementaux. Mesdames et messieurs, notre réunion d'aujourd'hui s'inscrit dans le cadre de la préparation de la conférence internationale de Tokyo sur le développement en Afrique, le TICAD 8, que la Tunisie est fin prête pour accueillir les 27 et 28 août prochains. Ce sommet constituera sans aucun doute une nouvelle opportunité pour renforcer le partenariat afro-japonais au niveau économique, culturel et humain. Un partenariat qui se fonde sur la solidarité et le développement équitable afin d'assurer une relance inclusive et durable suite aux effets dévastateurs de la pandémie du Covid-19. La Tunisie sera heureuse de vous accueillir à ce sommet et œuvrera à ce que ce rendez-vous tienne également compte de nos propres préoccupations pour un environnement plus sain dans nos pays et villes et de notre ambition pour un développement en conformité avec les engagements auxquels nous avons tous souscrit en faveur d'un cadre de vie propice au bien-être de l'humanité. Pour conclure, je suis convaincue que les travaux de cette troisième session seront couronnés de succès et à même de contribuer à transformer les défis de l'Afrique en opportunités de coopération et à promouvoir un financement durable pour préserver et reconstruire notre beau continent. Je vous remercie pour votre attention.
Thank you very much to the Prime Minister, Her Excellency Najla Bouden. She has actually been spearheading then that several cities in Tunisia have become members of the ACCP platform. And she was also actually very much putting forward the importance of actually having a more coordinated approach, and that people should also revitalize their role within the platform. So I'm looking forward to that. With that, I'd actually like to now introduce Ms. Samira Abidi, who is the Director General of Regulations, Cleanliness and Environmental Preservation at the Ministry of Local Affairs and Environment. She's in charge of the overall national waste management strategies for municipalities in Tunisia. So let's hear her welcoming remarks.
تحية طيبة. يشرفني أيها الحضور الكريم أصالة عن نفسي ونيابة عن السيد وزير الداخلية تحية طيبة. تحية طيبة. يشرفني أيها الحضور الكريم أصالة عن نفسي ونيابة عن السيد وزير الداخلية بالجمهورية التونسية أن أرحب بكم جميعا، وخاصة برنامج الأمم المتحدة للمستوطنات البشرية، وأعرب عن الاعتزاز بمشاركة وزارة الداخلية وباحتضان تونس للدورة الثالثة للجلسة العامة للمنصة الإفريقية للمدن النظيفة من 25 إلى 29 جويلية 2022. ويتزامن تاريخ الانطلاق مع حدث وطني، الاحتفال بعيد الجمهورية وتنظيم الاستفتاء الوطني لمستقبل أفضل لتونس، وتأسيس الدولة وفقا لدستور جديد يتضمن مسألة جوهرية: الحق في بيئة سليمة لكل مواطن تونسي. فتونس منذ القدم تكنى بتونس الخضراء، والخضرة والخصوبة لا تنموان إلا في مدن نظيفة تكون قادرة على التحكم في نفاياتها، وتكون البلديات الفاعل الرئيسي فيها. فالدولة التونسية تتكون من 24 ولاية و350 بلدية، منها 86 بلدية محدثة. تم توجيه جل البرامج الوطنية لتحسين مؤشرات منظومة النظافة بها، وتعتبر هذه المنصة جسرا لتحقيق التعاضد والتعاون مع تونس، وإيجاد الحلول لإشكاليات التصرف في النفايات وتحقيق أهداف التنمية المستدامة. وربما يكون انعقاد القمة الإفريقية اليابانية تيكادويت فرصة لتبادل الخبرات مع دولة اليابان وبقية الدول في هذا المجال. وفي الختام يمكن القول أن نظافة المدن هي نتيجة لتمشي مندمج يميز بالتبني السياسي للموضوع وبالمشاركة الفاعلة لكل المتدخلين وفقا لمنهجية الالتزام بتحقيق نتيجة، والتي آمل أن تكون ميزة عملنا.
Thank you very much for that, and I think it was really important message actually around the right to a clean environment for everybody. Importance of actually investing in a green and thriving cities, and that the platform is a wonderful opportunity to actually build solutions for sustainable waste management. But of course, there's the need for the political will and involvement of all parties to be able to make it a success. So with that, I would now like to introduce Ms. Saoud Abderrahmane, who's the mayor of Tunis. She also is the first female to serve as Tunis mayor. She's a member of the Ennahda Renaissance movement of Tunisia. So with that, if we can show the video of Ms. Suad Abderrahmane.
زملائي زميلاتي سيداتي سادتي أيها الحضور الكريم، مرحبا بكم في تونس، مرحبا بكم في هذه المنصة، منصة مدن إفريقية نظيفة. هذا الملتقى واللي باش يكون اللقاء افتراضي، هذا مفرضته علينا الظروف الصحية. هذا اللقاء مهم جدا. هذه المنصة والتي انطلقت منذ سنة 2017 بالشراكة مع مدن يابانية، مع وكالة التعاون الياباني، مع كذلك منظمة الأمم المتحدة للمستوطنات، وكذلك منظمة الأمم المتحدة للبيئة. هذا اللقاء اللي باش تكون هو فرصة لتبادل التجارب، لتبادل المعارف من أجل مدن أفضل، وسيتم تركيز النقاط على تثمين النفايات، وبالأساس النفايات الصلبة، لتكون مدننا جاذبة أكثر للسكان، جاذبة أكثر للسياح، من أجل مستقبل الأجيال المقبلة. تونس اليوم مستعدة كذلك لاحتضان قمة مهمة جدا اللي هي القمة الإفريقية اليابانية، باش تكون في أواخر شهر أوت. نرحب بكم جميعا على هامش هذه الندوة، وستكون كذلك فرصة لتبادل الأفكار وتبادل التجارب. المنصة ستكون بين 29 و 29 جويلية 2022. نرحب بكم جميعا في أرض تونس، أرض المحبة، أرض التعايش، أرض السلام، أرض الضيافة، ونعمل على أن تكون مخرجات هذا الملتقى مفيدة للجميع.
Thank you very much for those kind words from the Mayor of Tunis. She was welcoming everybody to join the 8th TCAD in Tunis when it's taking place. But she was also saying that this was an opportunity now, with us being online, to share experiences and lessons learned around waste management that can then feed into the TCAD meeting. So with that, I would like to now move to Dr. Tsuyoshi Yamaguchi, who is the Minister of Environment of Japan. Before serving as the Minister of Environment, Dr. Yamaguchi served as State Minister of Foreign Affairs back in 2011. So with that, I'll hand over to the Secretariat to show the video with the messages from Dr. Tsuyoshi Yamaguchi, please. apologies. I think we're actually having a little bit of a technical problem, so please bear with us as we get the video to show. Or should we maybe jump to the next video? Maybe if we're having trouble with actually showing the video, maybe we could actually move on to introduce the next video, which will be Mr.
All distinguished participants, my name is Yamaguchi, Environment Minister of Japan. It is a great honor to welcome you all to the third assembly of ACCP, African Clean Cities Platform. Let me express my deepest gratitude to the Republic of Tunisia, Tunis City, Jaica, Yokohama City, UNEP, and UN Habitat for jointly organizing this meeting. ACCP was established in 2017 by 24 African countries, Japan, and international organizations. In 2019, at the second ACCP assembly held in Yokohama City, ACCP adopted Yokohama Action Guidance for the ACCP. Based on the guidance, we have been sharing knowledge and experiences to realize the proper waste management and implemented more model projects of landfill sites. ACCP members have been expanded to 42 African countries and 108 cities, as well as 4 associates. Now, ACCP has been widely recognized and well established in Africa. The environment that surrounds us has drastically changed since the last ACCP assembly in 2019. We have been fighting against COVID-19 all over the world, including African countries. There is a stronger need for safe and hygienic treatment of waste. We achieved fruitful results of adopting Glasgow Climate Pact and the completion of Paris Rulebook, an essential milestone towards the global transition to carbon neutrality. Last year, over 100 countries joined Global Methane Pledge, an initiative to reduce global methane emissions by at least 30% from 2020 level by 2030. And circular economy, notably the circulation of plastics, has become the world trend. Methane emissions from uncontrolled landfill sites in Africa are set to amount to 20% of global methane emissions. Therefore, proper waste management will not only improve sanitation, but also reduces greenhouse gas emissions. Through the acceleration of ACCP activities, we can make huge difference in Africa and to the world. And that is the very reason we are meeting this week. On the last day of this meeting, we aim to adopt the Tunis Action Guidance for the ACCP as the outcome document of the third ACCP Assembly. The new guidance is expected to serve to facilitate the ACCP activities towards this sound waste management in Africa, and will be reflected in the upcoming TICAD 8 next month. Japan will continue to support the ACCP activities. Together with countries in Africa, we wish to strengthen the ACCP as a common asset. Let us realize clean cities with proper waste management. Together, we can do it. Thank you very much.
And thank you very much for actually those words, really important, that Japan will continue to support the ACCP, and that the new guidance that will emanate from this assembly towards sound waste management in Africa will also actually then feed into the TCAD conference taking place shortly. With that, I would like to now introduce Mr. Mahmoud Sharawi, who's the Minister of Local Development in Egypt. So Egypt is the host country of COP27, as many of you already know. And Mr. Sharawi attended the World Urban Forum this year and pledged there to strengthen the partnership with UN Habitat under the African Clean Cities platform. So with that short introduction, I'd like to hand over to the Secretariat to show his words of welcome as well.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. معالي بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. معالي السيدة رئيسة وزراء جمهورية تونس الشقيقة، السيد وزير البيئة بدولة اليابان، معالي السيدة مساعد الأمين العام للأمم المتحدة والمدير التنفيذي لبرنامج الأمم المتحدة للمستوطنات البشرية، معالي السيد نائب رئيس هيئة التعاون الدولي اليابانية جايكا، معالي السيد عمدة مدينة يوكوهاما، معالي السيدة عمدة العاصمة التونسية، السيدات والسادة الحضور. بداية اسمحوا لي أن أعبر عن خالص امتناني للمشاركة في الملتقى الإقليمي الثالث لمنصة المدن النظيفة، تمهيدا للنسخة الثامنة من مؤتمر طوكيو الدولي للتنمية الأفريقية، وأن أشكر إدارة الملتقى ومنظمة الأمم المتحدة للمستوطنات البشرية على إتاحة الفرصة لوزارة التنمية المحلية المصرية لكي نشارك معكم التجربة المصرية في تطوير الإدارة المتكاملة والمستدامة للمخلفات الصلبة، وذلك في إطار رؤية مصر 2030 وتحقيق أهداف التنمية المستدامة واستراتيجية الدولة للتغيرات المناخية، تمهيدا لاستضافة مصر لمؤتمر الأطراف لاتفاقية الأمم المتحدة للمناخ في نوفمبر القادم. السيدات والسادة، لقد جاءت استراتيجية التنمية المستدامة في مصر 2030 لتسلط الضوء على تطور منظمة إدارة المخلفات الصلبة عبر أهداف ومؤشرات حقيقية ومختلفة تقيس أداء إدارة المخلفات الصلبة على المستويين المحلي والوطني، وانطلاقا من إيمان الدولة المصرية بأن الإدارة المرنة والفعالة والمبتكرة للمخلفات الصلبة تعد موردا لاقتصاد دائري وعاملا مهما في إنشاء وظائف خضراء وتعزيز سبل العيش والدخل للفقراء المناطق الحضرية، وكذلك زيادة القدرة على تقليل الاستهلاك للموارد الطبيعية بما يضمن تحقيق الحماية البيئية. لذا فقد تبنت مصر عدد من المشروعات والبرامج لإدارة المخلفات الصلبة تستند على تمكين الإدارة المحلية والقطاع الخاص والمجتمع المدني في مراحل الإدارة المتكاملة للمخلفات الصلبة، ولعل أهم هذه الجهود هي تطوير منظومة المخلفات الصلبة الشاملة والمتكاملة والمستدامة منذ عام 2019، وذلك من خلال العمل على عدة محاور أهمها رفع كفاءة عمليات الجمع والنقل، رفع كفاءة عمليات المعالجة والتخلص الآمن، التوسع في استخدام التكنولوجيات الحديثة لمعالجة وتدوير المخلفات وتحويلها إلى طاقة، إحكام عمليات الرصد والرقابة وتقييم أداء مقدمي الخدمة، رفع الوعي البيئي العام وتحسين السلوكيات في التعامل مع المخلفات بالمشاركة مع منظمات المجتمع المدني. مع خلق فرص اقتصادية من خلال مشروعات إدارة المخلفات. ولقد تضمنت هذه الجهود عدة مشروعات لرفع كفاءة البنية التحتية، منها إنشاء مصانع المعالجة والتدوير، وكذا المدافن الصحية الآمنة، وتوريد محطات وسيطة ثابتة ومتحركة، فضلا عن إعادة تأهيل مصانع للمعالجة والتدوير والمحطات الوسيطة، ورفع كفاءة المعدات بإجمالي استثمارات تعدت 12 مليار جنيه. وقد أسهمت هذه الجهود بالفعل في التقليل من الممارسات السلبية السابقة في إدارة المخلفات، وتقليل نسب الانبعاثات الضارة نتيجة مصاحبته للحرق المكشوف للمقالب العشوائية، من خلال التدخل السريع لرفع المخلفات من المقالب العشوائية وإغلاقها غلقا تاما وصحيا. كما ساهمت في تقديم الدعم الفني للمحافظات لإعداد نماذج مقترح كراسات الشروط والمواصفات الفنية ونماذج العقود لمراحل الإدارة المتكاملة للمخلفات الصلبة، متضمنة عمليات الجمع والنقل والمعالجة والتخلص الآمن. السيدات والسادة الحضور، وفي إطار جهود توطين الاستراتيجيات والسياسات القومية للتنمية الحضرية، وحرصا على تحقيق أهداف التنمية المستدامة المتعلقة بالمخلفات، استندت جهود إدارة المخلفات الصلبة على تمكين الإدارة المحلية من الاستفادة من الابتكارات والتقنيات الجديدة لتحقيق اقتصاديات حضارية أكثر إنتاجية وازدهارا ومرونة على المستوى المحلي في مجال المخلفات الصلبة. وفي هذا الصدد يسعدني أن أشرك معكم نتائج مشروع تطبيق أداة الإدارة الذكية للمخلفات، والتي يتم بالتعاون مع برنامج الأمم المتحدة للمستوطنات البشرية UN Habitat ضمن مبادرة المدن الأفريقية النظيفة، لما يمثله المشروع من أهمية للقارة الأفريقية، باعتباره أحد الممارسات الجيدة المحفزة للاستثمار، والتي تستهدف تحسين أداة المخلفات. الإدارة الذكية للمخلفات هي إدارة تشخيصية تطبقها المدن لتقييم أداء إدارة المخلفات الصلبة المحلية، واستخدامها كأساس لتخطيط إدارة المخلفات الصلبة المستدامة، وتعد نموذجا لأحد أهم الأدوات والمنهجيات العامة التي تمكن المستويات المحلية من تحليل الوضع الراهن للمخلفات الصلبة بشكل تفصيلي، وتحديد الفجوات في المنظومة الحالية، بالإضافة إلى التعرف على كفاءة المدن في عمليات إعادة التدوير، وصولا إلى مخطط لتحسين وتطوير المنظومة. وإنه لمن دواعي سروري أن أشير إلى النتائج المحققة منذ الملتقى الأخير في هذا الصدد، وعلى رأسها أنه تم التعاون مع منظمة الأمم المتحدة للمستوطنات البشرية لتطبيق الأداة الذكية للتعامل مع المخلفات الصلبة في مدينة الإسكندرية، وعليه قد تم عرض مخرجات ونتائج التطبيق على الشركاء المحليين، والتي تضمنت القيادات التنفيذية المحلية وممثلي الجامعات ومنظمات المجتمع المدني والقطاع الخاص والقطاع الغير رسمي في محافظة الإسكندرية. كانت أهم هذه النتائج أن إجمالي المخلفات الصلبة في مدينة الإسكندرية وهي 5134 طن يوم، مع إجمالي المخلفات التي تم جمعها والتي وصلت إلى 4300 طن يوم، وأن معدل إهدار الطعام للفرد اليومي 39% كيلو جرام من الفرد، كما أن معدل الاسترداد لمدينة الإسكندرية يصل إلى 21%. وبناء على هذه النتائج وعلى المناقشات الثرية مع أصحاب المصلحة، استطعنا الوصول إلى أهم المخرجات التالية. أولا، تم تحديد مجالات التدخلات الرئيسية والسياسات المقترحة لسد الفجوات في تطوير البنية التحتية، وكذا مناقشة عدد من التوصيات المقترحة لبدء العمل عليها، بحيث تصبح مدينة الإسكندرية نموذج يحتذى به في منظومة النظافة على مستوى المحافظات. ثانيا، تم الاعتماد على نتائج تطوير الأداة كخط أساس في وضع المخطط العام لتطوير منظومة المخلفات الصلبة في محافظة الإسكندرية، وتوجيه الاستثمارات الحكومية وتشجيع القطاع الخاص على الاستثمار في أبرز جوانب تطوير المخلفات الصلبة لتحقيق التوازن بين العائد الاستثماري والبيئي والمجتمعي. تعد هذه المرة الأولى التي يتم استخدام منهجية علمية متسقة مع أنظمة إحصائيات المخلفات الأخرى في العالم في مدينة مصرية، حيث توفر هذه الأداة خريطة طريق وخط أساس للتعرف على مكونات وتحديات عمليات إدارة، وكذا تحديد المستهدفات الخاصة بكل محافظة وفقا لطبيعة وخصائص المخلفات المتولدة فيها، وصولا إلى صياغة خطة استراتيجية واقعية وتطبيقية للوصول إلى الأهداف المرجوة. كما أنها المرة الأولى لتفعيل أداة لرصد مؤشر خاص بالهدف 11 من المحور الأول والمؤشر السادس من مؤشرات أهداف التنمية المستدامة المعني بجمع المخلفات الصلبة المحلية ومستوى الرقابة في مرافق إدارة المخلفات، بهدف قياس أداء إدارة المخلفات كجزء من جهود تطوير إدارة منظومة المخلفات الصلبة في مصر. وتقدر الإشارة هنا إلى أن الحكومة المصرية من خلال وزارة التنمية المحلية تعمل حاليا على تكرار تطبيق الأداة في 9 محافظات مصرية مختارة لتشمل جميع الأقاليم المصرية، تمهيدا لتعميمها في باقي المدن المصرية من موازنة الحكومة المصرية. وجاري الإعداد لعقد مؤتمر لإطلاق الأداة وعرض نتائج المسح في مدينة الإسكندرية وتعميمها في باقي المدن بحضور محافظي المحافظات المستهدفة خلال الأسبوع الجاري. وعليه تعكس هذه التجربة ريادة مصر في توطين أهداف التنمية المستدامة، ولا سيما الهدف رقم 11 المتعلق بجعل المدن والمستوطنات البشرية مستدامة وشاملة للجميع وآمنة وقادرة على الصمود، حيث أن العدد الحالي للمدن الذي تم تطبيق الأداة فيها ما يقرب من حوالي 45 مدينة على مستوى العالم، فيما أن الدولة المصرية ستضيف ما يقرب من 25% إلى هذا العدد، والذي من شأنه سيسهم في مساعدة الحكومة المصرية في توصيف وكتابة التقارير ذات الصلة بعملية توطين أهداف التنمية المستدامة على المستوى المحلي، وكذا جهود مصر في تنفيذ الأجندة الحضرية الجديدة. السيدات والسادة الحضور، في ختام كلمتي وإذ أكرر التعبير عن سعادتي الكبيرة بمشاركة التجربة المصرية لاستخدام الأداة الذكية في إدارة المخلفات، وأننا نتعهد بدعم مصر الكامل وحرصها على نقل هذه التجربة الرائدة للدول الأخرى في قارتنا الأفريقية. وعليه نود أن نقترح خلق مجتمع من ممارسي الأداة الذكية بالإدارة المحلية على غرار منصة المدن النظيفة، لتصبح آلية لتبادل الممارسات والدروس المستفادة بشأن الإدارة المتكاملة والمستدامة لإدارة المخلفات الصلبة، لتضم الدول الأفريقية المعنية وتجتمع بشكل نصف سنوي للمضي قدما وتعزيز تبني نهج تكاملي ومستدام لإدارة المخلفات الصلبة، لا سيما من خلال استخدام الأداة الذكية لإدارة المخلفات. والسلام عليكم. شكرا.
Thank you very much for that from the Minister of Local Government. And I think he really gave a great example of a city in Egypt that has actually adopted the Waste-Wise Cities tool and how that has inspired the development of an integrated solid waste management plan, and how he's now sort of upscaling that to an additional 9 cities in Egypt. So it was all about empowering the different community members. It's about recycling, but also creating those economic opportunities that are so important for the citizens. So with that, I'd like to now introduce our Ms. Mohammed Sharif, the Executive Director of UN Habitat, who was previously the Mayor of Penang City in Malaysia, where she succeeded in substantially reducing was actually generated by the city. And waste is really her passion. So with that, I'd like to hand over to the Secretariat to actually show the video with the key messages from the Executive Director of UN Habitat.
Excellencies, honorable mayors, colleagues, friends, ladies and gentlemen, I am delighted to speak to you today on this occasion. Today, more than 100 different cities all over Africa gathered to share experiences in one of the major challenges that we all face, which is waste management. This urban challenge has been taken very seriously by UN Habitat, and we have established a platform for this common purpose, namely the African Clean Cities Platform. The platform was set up jointly in 2017 by the Ministry of Environment of Japan, the Japan International Cooperation Agency, Yokohama City, UNEP, and UN Habitat. Its creation was witnessed by 24 African countries representative in Maputo, Mozambique. Since then, the platform had served as a knowledge sharing and investment promotion tool for improved waste management in Africa. The initiative has grown to a network of 108 cities and 42 countries. Africa's urbanization rate is 3.5%, the highest in the world. This mega trend comes with a major challenge of waste management. The average waste collection rate in African cities is less than 50%, and most places rely on open dump sites. When I was appointed to head the Municipal Council of Seberang Perai in Malaysia, every year 2 billion tons of solid waste were generated. Transporting this waste to landfill was consuming 60% of the total revenue generated. I had an idea to add another R for rethink to the known recipe of reduce, reuse, recycle. We needed to change our mindset and think of waste as a resource. By 2017, schools throughout the city no longer relied on waste collection services. The budget for waste management dropped from 40% to 20%. The recycling rates increased from 15% to 56%. By the time my tenure at Seberang Perai was completed, Penang has been declared the cleanest city in Southeast Asia. Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues and partners, the COVID-19 pandemic has disrupted livelihoods and jeopardized the health and well-being of many, especially the most vulnerable. As inequalities grow and people are pushed below the poverty line, many turn to waste picking to make ends meet. The recycling sector was hit hard by COVID-19, with the price of recyclables falling as countries closed their borders. Many low and middle income countries cannot treat medical and contaminated waste, putting vulnerable groups like waste pickers at risk. Since last year, many critical discussions have started shedding light on waste management at a global level. During COP26 at Glasgow, more than 100 countries agreed to methane pledge to reduce methane emissions by 30% by 2030. Earlier this year, the United Nations Environment Assembly passed a resolution to establish a legally binding global agreement on marine litter and plastic pollution by 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, dear partners, I believe the role played by the platform is more crucial than ever. Sharing knowledge and experiences with communities that face similar challenges is a great way to inspire future actions. We need to strengthen our efforts to address the waste challenge and meet the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, the New Urban Agenda, and the Paris Agreement. I would like to conclude with a motto that applies to all of us: my waste, my responsibility. We at UN Habitat stand ready to support you, to support cities to rethink reduce, reuse, and recycle through the African Clean Cities platform. I wish you an inspiring assembly. Thank you.
And thank you so much to Madame Maimouna for those keywords. I think she actually brought a new element into the whole discussion around solid waste management, which is about rethinking. It's about changing mindsets and thinking of waste as a resource. And she was really part of inspiring that and being able to ensure that the city of Seberang Perai, where she used to be the mayor, was the cleanest city in Southeast Asia. So she was also, again, highlighting the importance of the role of the platform to be able to inspire future action going forward. So with those words, I'd now like to introduce Dr. Takeharu Yamanaka, who's the mayor of the city of Yokohama. The city of Yokohama has been a key partner since the establishment or the creation of the Africa Clean Cities platform in providing and organizing waste management trainings to ACCP members. And it's very important now to actually hear the words of the mayor of the city of Yokohama. So please, I will hand over to the Secretariat to show his short video.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Takeharu Yamanaka, the mayor of the city of Yokohama. It is a great honor to take this opportunity before the upcoming TCAD 8. We believe that the city of Yokohama is the closest city to Africa in Japan because we have hosted TCAD 3 times so far, and our city has developed a friendship with many countries in Africa through a diverse range of exchanges. For example, since TCAD 4 was held in 2008, more than 200 elementary and junior high schools across Yokohama have participated in the One School, One Country program. This program gives Yokohama's future leaders the opportunity to connect with people from Africa. One more thing that brings Yokohama and Africa together is technical cooperation. Yokohama is especially focused on exchange with Africa in the field of waste management, as the only Japanese local government that is a part of the ACCP. We have provided a variety of practical programs on solid waste management for African countries since 2018, including lectures on waste management technology, support for developing action plans, and study tours of waste collection and installation sites. So far, over 118 participants from 36 African countries have taken part. We are very honored that our experience and technology have been useful for Africa. The city of Yokohama will continue to make every effort with all of you in order to achieve the SDGs by 2030 and to realize clean and healthy cities in Africa. I hope that we can strengthen our friendship in the coming months and years as we aim to host TCAD 9 in Yokohama. In closing, I would like to express my sincere wish that this ACCP assembly will be a productive event that will kick off a successful TCAD 8 next month. Thank you.
And thank you so much for those words. And I think many of you may have already actually had the exchanges or been part of trainings or practical programs that have been organized by the city of Yokohama. And I think this is something that will be continuing as they up their support to the platform going forward. With that, I'd like to now move to Mr. Seiichi Onodera, who is the Senior Vice President of Jaica, who from 2017 and 2019 was really engaged when the ACCP actually was created and started. And Jaica has continued to be a leading and supporting in this initiative. So please, if the Secretariat would be kind enough to show the video from Mr. Onodera.
On behalf of Jaica, I am honored to have the opportunity to provide the opening remarks at this very important occasion. The ACCP was established in 2017 in response to the continuous increase of the amount of waste generation due to the economic development, population growth, and urbanization in Africa. Furthermore, the importance of proper waste management is increasingly emphasized in light of global challenges, such as the spread of COVID-19 and climate change. The ACCP's mission of creating clean and healthy cities in Africa and achieving the SDGs cannot be accomplished through individual effort only. It is essential to share tangible and visible outcomes and challenges, as well as to promote mutual learning and co-creation of knowledge across cities and countries. To realize clean cities where people can enjoy safe and healthy lives all over the world, Jaica launched the Jaica Clean City Initiative as our cooperation strategy in 2021, which provides comprehensive support to prevent environmental pollution. In Africa, Jaica has implemented projects in 16 countries to date and supports capacity development of more than 1,000 people across African countries since TICAD 7 in 2019. I am delighted to see that project counterparts and training participants have been playing active roles in their respective countries, utilizing the knowledge acquired from Japan's experience on environmental administration, local government initiatives, and advanced technologies of private companies, which will also be shared at this assembly. Jaica will continue to accumulate good practices from projects we support around the world and disseminate the knowledge through the ACCP in order to spread impact to the entire region in accordance with the Yokohama Action Guidance in 2019 and the Tunis Action Guidance, which will be adopted at the end of this assembly. I would like to conclude my remarks by congratulating the ACCP Third Assembly, as well as expressing Jaica's strong determination and continuous commitment to realize clean cities in Africa by working hand in hand with the ACCP member cities and countries and our partners. Thank you.
And thank you for that. I think this was a really important message as well, that Jaica is really supporting this co-creation of knowledge through the platform and has also launched a Clean City initiative within Jaica to be able to support the different cities and countries on solid waste management. With that, I would now like to hand over to Mr. Frank Turiatunga, who is the Acting Director and Regional Representative of our sister agency, the United Nations Environment Programme, and he is actually heading the Africa office. He has an enormous wealth of environmental program and policy implementation experience, having served as regional coordinator for Africa and has been involved in the ACCP actually since its establishment. So Mr. Turiatunga, welcome.
Good morning. Good morning, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Frank Turiatunga. I'm the Regional Director for Africa of the United Nations Environment Program. We are happy to join you at this Africa Clean Cities platform. I have a couple of messages that I want to share with you. The first one is that African countries are living a mounting waste crisis. The Africa Environment Outlook reported that in 2012, the region generated 125 million tons of municipal solid waste, and this is expected to double by 2025. Waste collection services in most countries remains inadequate with only 55% collection rate, and most of this is disposed of at uncontrolled dump sites and landfills. Open burning of waste is a common occurrence in these waste dumps. The second message is that it is possible to get significant economic value from environmentally sound management of waste in African cities. It is evident that a combination of small-scale, low-cost, decentralized, community-driven initiatives and larger-scale, higher-cost, centralized public-private initiatives may be required to address current and expected future solid waste management. The resource value currently locked up in Africa's waste is significant, and this should be attractive to public and private sector investors, assuming the technologies are appropriate for Africa. The third message is that there is a momentum to tackle waste as a priority for development in the region. For example, the Africa Union's Agenda 2063 is encouraging the region to recycle at least 50% of the urban waste generated by 2023. Africa also needs to be alert to the emerging challenge of waste trafficking in Africa. In conclusion, there needs to be the following. First, Africa needs to bring waste under control, and so comprehensive, reliable, and regular city cleaning and controlled disposal of waste is the foundation of every integrated waste management system. The second one is that Africa needs to harness the opportunities of waste as a resource, and this requires the region to unlock the socio-economic opportunities of waste as a resource by moving waste up the waste management hierarchy away from disposal towards waste prevention, reuse, recycling, and recovery. I wish you a successful third assembly of the African Clean Cities platform. I thank you.
And thank you so much for those words from our sister agency, UNEP, really emphasizing how important it is to actually invest in waste management in Africa, as waste is actually seen to double by the year 2035. So it's really important to have those appropriate approaches for Africa and to harness waste as a resource going forward. So thank you very much for joining us now for this opening session. And we would now like to actually have a keynote lecture around the global trend around waste management and what the implications could be for COP20, or the implications from COP26 at Glasgow, and to think, how do we actually move forward with that? So I'd like to invite Professor Yukari Takamura, who is with the Institute for Future Initiatives at the Tokyo University. And she's a member of the governmental advisory bodies. She is also a member of the advisory group on climate change and sustainable development of the Asia Development Bank. And she is a member of the Science Council of Japan and serves as Vice President since October 2020. She has received Environmental Conservation Merits from the Minister of the Environment Award in 2018. So with that, I'd like to open the floor to Professor Takamura. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Cecilia, if I call you. So it's a great honor for me to speak here and start the African Queer Cities Platform Assembly. I'm really delighted to deliver the speech with the expert and the minister from the various African countries. I'm really excited to do so. And also I'd like to thank the organizer and the founders, starting with the MOE, Ministry of Environment Japan, and Jaica, and the city of Yokohama, and the UNEP, and the UN Habitat, but not least the government of Tunisia and the mayor of city of Tunis that host this wonderful assembly. So with that, I'd like to start the sharing my slide. I understand. Yeah, great, thank you. So what I like to speak today is that I think you are all the expert and public official of the waste management sectors, and I then focus on the synergy and the implication from the climate change with the waste management policy. So that is a photo that we had actually in 2018. We had a very severe and strong typhoon this year, so that actually destroyed the lifeline, such as this power grid. And we had quite difficulty in having access and the energy or the power. And another typhoon, then actually the next year in 2019, that is also one of the biggest or the strongest typhoon that we had, and especially in the Tokyo area. So this caused very severe flooding to affect the infrastructure of transport, and also the flooding and the city and the village, and that is actually we had quite a big economic loss from this typhoon. So, for instance, if you look at the number here, the last photos actually, that was a typhoon Hagibis that caused the largest economic loss due to the weather, extreme weather. So you can see that with this photo, you can imagine that this kind of climate somehow related disaster cause the heavy or big loss to our life. And also, please, I'd like to remind you that that's caused quite a big, largest amount of the waste from the disaster. So then that is also then related to the waste management policy as well. So, but this trend is not only for Japan, unfortunately, we see the global increase in the climate-related economic loss, and that actually accelerate the over this decade in 2000 to 2020. I understand that currently we have seen a lot of heat wave and also the forest fire resulting from such kind of heat wave. So the climate change effect is not for the next generation now, and then rather the actual or the damage caused to our generation as well. I talk about the typhoon in 2019, but this year we had a really global big, the loss from the extreme weather. For instance, you can see that in 2019, Cyclone Idai in Mozambique actually killed more than 100 people. So that's why the science say that the climate change is a threat to the human well-being and the planetary health. So any further delay and concerted anticipatory global action on adaptation and mitigation or misbelief and a rapid closing window of opportunity to secure the livable and sustainable future for all. So I understand that you know all the Paris Agreement. It actually have a global goal to hold the increase in global average temperature well below 2 degrees, and also the pursuing effort to limit the temperature increase to 1.5 degrees above pre-industrial level. So that corresponds to net zero emission or decarbonization in the second half of this century. And the very big, say, the progress or development since 1 or 2 years, that not only Japan and developed country, but also the already more than 140 countries, of course, including all G7 countries, have now pledged to reduce emission to net zero by 2050 at the latest. And so that's kind of commitment to the net zero by 2050 or the 2060 or 2070. That actually, such kind of commitment came from even with the emerging economies and developing countries. So that showed quite a keen sense of urgency and about the climate crisis. So based on such, this recognition and perception, at COP26 in Glasgow last year, a country agreed to resolve to pursue efforts to limit the temperature increase to 1.5 degrees instead of well below 2 degrees. But this challenge is quite, this mountain, mounting, if I may. So of course, the cumulated nationally determined contribution, which is a national target to reduce greenhouse gas emission, it has been progressing, and we might have a chance to peak out global emission by 2030 around. But still, compared to the pathway going toward 1.5 goal, you see the big gap exists still, so that if we could not, fill this gap, we might lose the opportunity to achieve the ensured achievement of 1.5 goal. So that what we have to do is that how to reduce this gap by 2030, and also how to achieve the net zero around by 2050. So that is the analysis coming from the International Energy Agency about the energy sector. But you can see that the most potential of reducing emission by 2030 to fill the gap come from the technology on the market. That means that the technology already available, how to then diffuse, replace this technology, in the actual society to reduce emission. But of course, another challenge that we need to be prepared for, the more deeper reduction beyond 2030, so that we have two challenges at the same time. So the waste management is very much related, relevant to the climate change, or climate change is very much relevant to the waste management. I think typical example is plastic waste. So as you know that the growth and plastic production is largely at pace that of any other material, and the world now produces more than 400 million tons of plastic every year. So if this kind of trend continue, by 2050, the plastic industry may account for 20% of world total oil consumption. then if we they burn this plastic waste, very quickly or the line away, if I may, I think we might have quite an increase in emission from the waste management. So I think the waste management sector in that sense quite important to reduce emission. If we talk about plastic waste, we know that this impact is quite a variety that affect a variety of areas, and of course starting with the circular economy like tourism, fisheries, and agriculture, and also impact on human health, and of course not least, but the impact on environment is quite clear. I think one of the environmental impact is climate change. So I think all of you know that now then the circular economy vision or concept is now emerged, try to change the line of make use dispose process to circular economy to minimize the raw material to feed in this cycle, and by tackling the design of product and the production process, even distribution, and then how to reuse and repair the recycle these kind of product, and in order to minimize waste production. So circular economy is then they minimize, as I said, that minimize the use of raw material and maximize the use of life-form material and minimize waste generated. So that's actually we need to see the co-benefit even in the context of climate change, because waste sector is one of the source of emitting greenhouse gases, especially methane emission formed by the anaerobic organic matter, which is one of the short-lived climate pollutant. If we can reduce this ACCP, we can see the quick impact from this mitigation. So also it's not only environmental benefit, but also the economically speaking, reducing the material and improving the material efficiency. Actually, that's contribute to the competitiveness of the economy of the country. So actually, that's come from I think the International Resource Panel. The material production is one of the emission source, but it's very interesting to see that if we have a material efficiency strategy, for instance, life cycle emission from the housing or home or car could, the considerable reduce in 2050. So we could do, what is a material efficient strategy? So of course, the material by design and material substitution, but you can see that waste management, such as the recovery and recycle materials and the reuse, and they extend the product lifetime by doing so. That is quite a good material efficiency policies. So last not least, what I see now in the climate policy is that now the country try to internalize and mainstream the climate-related risk consideration in business strategy and decision making, not only by government but also private sector such as the capital market. The capital investor induce or encourage the businesses to disclose what should be the climate-related financial risk, and then based on such information, they invest for the country which do the better climate preparedness. So such kind of ESG investing is now extend not only in climate change and go beyond to other issues such as plastic issue and waste management and circular economy. For instance, if you look at this slide that comes from the Morgan Stanley data, Of course, climate change is one of the big interest from investors. But you can see that quite equivalently, plastic reduction and circular economy is, the area that the investor are quite keen to see. So I think now then we maybe better to have a waste management policy, to incorporate the consideration of synergy such as with the climate change. As I talked, that the plastic is one of the possibility, and the material efficiency is the same. And again, I like to say that action by our urban area is quite important. I'd like to show the research outcome included in the IPCC 6th assessment report just published. The urban area can create opportunity to increase resource efficiency at the same time reduce greenhouse gas emission. So through the systematic transition of infrastructure and urban form. So then we can tackle two issues quite effectively if we could manage to elaborate a good policy. So then of course, city could have an impact or exercise the impact, not only within the city, but also outside the city, because the city consumes the service and product coming from outside. So that's how to consume the product service by city have a significant impact on the outside of the city actually emit, or how to use the resources. So last not least, I think that is quite a big chance, because now private sector is quite keen in investing in such area. As I say that the policy and the practice by businesses now extend to from the climate change go into the other areas such as circular economy. So maybe good policy elaboration create a good opportunity to inducing private investor necessarily in waste management and together with climate action. So with that, I really sincerely wish this third ACCP assembly will be a valuable opportunity for exchange and the ideas and the experience among the participants to promote the African Clean City platform. So thank you very much. With that, I back microphone to Cecilia. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much, Dr. Takamura. And I think this, just making that link between waste management policy and climate change, I think is absolutely essential, especially as we're moving towards the COP27 as well, and to bring some of those key messages of how important it is actually for investors to invest in and for cities to invest in a good policies with regards to waste management. And I also really liked how you pulled out as well the importance of looking at the circular economy and how that has emerged as well through this whole dialogue. And that's why it's so important now to ensure that we actually then see how the different waste policies actually fit into that circular economy approach and thinking. So thank you so much for that, Dr. Takamura. I think that's given us a lot of inspiration going forward. I'd like to now just allow a few minutes, not more than 5 minutes, but a few key questions or to Dr. Takamura, or if you want some clarifications on something that she said, then please raise your hand. I think we can spend just 5 minutes, and then I think we'll sort of shortly move into the next session. So are there any key questions or clarifications that you'd like Dr. Takamura to make? Sorry, I don't see any hands. And I don't see any questions in the chat either. And if not, then maybe I'd like to close this opening session and thank Dr. Takamura and all our key speakers that welcomed us to the assembly. I think we'll take just a very, very short break to be able to stretch our legs and get ready for the next session. So I'd like to propose just a 5-minute break, and then we will resume with the next session. And thank you, Dr. Takamura. I think it was really appreciated, your keynote. And I see there's also some questions. If you'd be able to share the PowerPoint presentation, that would be very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we resume again in 5 minutes. Thank you.